Brokers Alliance and the National Insurance Clearinghouse present the Business Insurance Zone, a Bravo video event. Broadcasting in HD 1080p on Vimeo, YouTube, the Insurance Newsnet, Agent Navigator, BrokersAlliance.com, and on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and the Insurance Forum. And now your host, the whiz of the biz, Steve Savant. Well, welcome everyone to the Business Insurance Zone, the talk show that spotlights insurance in your practice, keeps you up to speed on insurance news and products, features insurance strategies from top advisors. Get in the zone, the Business Insurance Zone.
Yeah, remember our email address is thebiz@brokersalliance.com. And of course, you can call us at 1-800-290-7226, extension 147 for any of your quotes on life insurance, DI, LTC, annuities, and of course, group pension plans. And remember, I'm not a tax advisor or a legal advisor, so before moving forward with any of the strategies or ideas, get in touch with your CPA, your attorney, or if you're with a broker-dealer, your compliance officer. Well, I want to welcome to our show today the Business Insurance Zone, and we're in the zone today, all that is LTC. And of course, I have the head of our whole department here, Susan Carlson. Susan, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You are the lady of LTC. I have to say, you're very knowledgeable. And again, if you want to say, I need basic training,
Yes.
we have it on our site. We have it on Agent Navigator. You can go out to that site and look at basic entry-level teaching. That's about, 17-minute long video. You can watch Susan teach about LTC, and all the carriers we play with are big-time players in long-term care. Now, today I want to kind of focus on individual long-term care. I'm going to spend both segments of the show today really breaking this down. Now, we have other shows, again, on LTC that Susan, of course, is our guest on, and I want you to go and look at those for who are the players, the carriers. But today, I want to talk about individual LTC. Why should I buy it? We kind of know why we should buy it. We know it's not if we're going to have an LTC event, it's when we have an LTC event. Mm-hmm. But when I talk about individual, I don't know much about it. Like, I don't know, is it 90-day wait? Do I have to, if I have an event after it's issued, do I have to wait a year before I can collect? I want to know everything about all that as an individual purchaser of LTC. And if I do, my wife and I, can we get on one policy? No, we have to have separate policies. I want to know all that.
Okay.
Okay?
There's a tremendous amount of customization you can do for these plans, but as a big overall picture, most of the plans will pay a monthly amount for long-term care services, whether you're in a nursing home, assisted living, home health care. It just depends where you're at. And then it will pay after a certain time frame, which you actually choose. So it's your deductible. We call it a elimination period. Mm-hmm. How many days are you willing to pay out of pocket?
Well, Lex, what's the minimum elimination?
What I like now is that a lot of the companies will have a 0 day. So no deductible for home health care. So it just starts to pay automatically, which I think is tremendous.
Well, what's the due diligence on your front end of the application then? I mean, they must really make sure they look through the medical and everything if they're going to start day one.
Well, they do that regardless. So,
okay.
so the underwriting isn't any harder.
So there's some contracts or provisions that you can customize that'll have no waiting period.
For the home health care side.
For the home health care, okay.
Yes,
no
which
days
is very
on home
good.
health.
And then depending on your elimination period, whether it be 30 days up to a year, mm-hmm. that would just apply to the facility. Mm-hmm. Or you have contracts where it's just a flat year you pay out of pocket. So mm-hmm. you have that factor. And then you also have the factor of how much do I want to buy? Just like with life insurance. So you're really buying a bucket of money. Mm-hmm. It's expressed in years, which is just a factor. So they mm-hmm. take how many years that you want this policy to pay, multiply it by your monthly benefit amount, and you have bought a bucket of money.
So you're looking at how long do you want to hold it? There's a duration calculation here.
Yes.
There's an elimination, or maybe not, according to this, if
mm-hmm.
it's home care. You're looking also at what your monthly benefit, what you think you want. And I've noticed in our monthly benefit, when I'm looking at these numbers, in the country, it is all over the board. When I'm looking at the state maps of the country on what the costs are. I mean, look at these maps here. I'm just showing it to you right now, a little visual. That's why we're on the internet. I'm looking at this like, for example, we're broadcasting out of Fountain Hills, Arizona, suburb of Phoenix, and I'm looking at home health care. This is the Homemaker Series Medium Annual Expense.
Okay.
I guess if I wanted to have a long-term care event, I should go down to Louisiana,
Yes.
because that number is down there at 33 grand. And then you're looking at some of the East Coast numbers of 51,000 for the same care. Wrong state to have your long-term care, I guess.
But it does. It very much varies. And coming up with how much do you want this policy to reimburse, I think that's when we need to ask our client, what do you want the policy to do? Do you want it to cover 100% of the cost? Do you want it to take just the sting out of it? Do you want it to cover 75%?
So you can really customize it to the point where you say, I think I could contribute a little bit to it. I don't really think I have to buy the whole thing, but
Absolutely.
I could kind of I can customize on the size of the benefit, the elimination period, the duration. I've noticed that when you're a little younger, I could customize it and do a 10-pay walk away. I have no more premium. Talk a little bit about that, because that's pretty intriguing.
Yeah, with long-term care policies, like any type of pure insurance, you pay forever, or you pay until you use it. Once you go on claim, your premiums are waived. And for the younger individuals, even though it's still much more effective for them to buy at a younger age, they just can't fathom paying this for 20, 30 years. So some of the companies have what's called a 10-pay, in which you can contractually pay the policy up in 10 years. And depending on your age, it either doubles or triples the premium. And we like to look at 10 pays for anybody, I'd say, under the age of 58.
58 or below.
Or below. When you get above 58, when you look at the total amount of premium, a lot of times the 10 pays don't make sense because you've paid too much into the policy.
So if you're 50, and it doesn't matter if it's male or female, it's pretty much that's the demarcation line?
Yes, we use unisex rates currently with long-term care.
Now I've heard, and if I'm right here, you've heard it here first on our show. I've heard that they're going to move off this in the future, off unisex rates, and move to individual rates. Some of these carriers are already looking down this road.
They are. There's been grumbling, and just because of the utilization, women, out of every claim dollar that's paid out, 70 cents go towards women. You know, we utilize the policy, and the companies need to be able to
that's because the
protect
guys
them.
die. I mean,
Yes.
that's why there's no second to die claims in the 20th century. I think there's like less than half of, 500 death claims in the 20th century, because the guys died on time according to the actuarial tables, but the women just won't die.
No, we linger.
By the way, I have a new song out called "Women Live Forever and Men Just Die." So it'll be one of my insurance songs out on Facebook as soon as my boss lets me release it. I'm blown away, because when I look at long-term care facilities, and we have one here that's not too far from my house in Scottsdale, I have seen 9-to-1 women to men. So the guys are gone. And so when you say the word 70%, that even sounds a little low. You know, it's probably more. You know.
Well, and we're also forgetting about home care. You know, facilities are the last resort. You know, that's the last stop. What long-term care is it's at home. 75% of all claims happen at home.
75%, wow.
So, you know, that doesn't take into consideration, before they go into a facility, all the years that the family was taking care of them. So when we're talking about long-term care planning, we need to focus about home care, because that's where it's happening. It's an, oh, by the way, this will cover the facility as well. And, you know, and you're right, because a lot of women do move into facilities because they've lost their spouse.
You know, I've heard this thing where a person's in a long-term care situation, they're in a nursing home, and they have to leave the nursing home to go to hospitalization.
Okay.
During that period, they could lose their bed, right?
They could.
I mean, is there a way, any of these contracts protect against that?
They all do. All the long-term care insurance has what's called a bed reservation. Now, they vary on the amount of days, but what they'll do is they'll continue to pay the facility while you might be at a hospital, and then that way your bed is safe. That's
so strange for me to think about. Wow, now I have what's part of my policy provision? A bed reservation. Yes. Now, it isn't too far off, because when I think of bed reservations, I think of the first thing in my mind is hotel reservations. And in your video where you were teaching LTC, you mentioned that I think it's Marriott.
Yes.
That's actually building their facilities, their hotels, with a futuristic view in mind, that this will be a hotel today, but we may turn it into a long-term care facility.
Absolutely.
So they're already building the countertops lower and guardrails and everything. You were just going on to that. So to me, that they're already starting to think down that road, because the largest population in the United States is the baby boomers.
Right.
And when our group gets there, we're probably going to be living longer because of medical technology. We're watching what we eat. We're probably going to be around a lot longer than we think. And I think even the gals even longer, women even longer than men. So when I look at, I'm always looking at individual long-term care needs today.
Okay.
I have these perks like the bed reservation.
Okay.
Which I just want to say, and call 1-800 for your bed reservation. I mean, unbelievable. It's in the contract, and most of the carriers carry this.
Well, and and some of the other perks are the home modifications. To be able to build ramps and to modify the home to keep you at home.
That's part of the policy?
Absolutely.
We'll talk a little about that.
Well, that falls under the home care benefits.
Home care benefit again.
And a lot of the carriers, they express it in different ways, but you will have a chunk of money, if you will, to modify your home if you want to be able to stay at home, whether that be building ramps, lowering counters. They also have caregiving training, because no matter what we say, our kids are going to step in and help.
So
it's just what
my
families
children can
do.
go to this class,
And get trained.
provided by my contract.
Correct. They
Wow.
would pay for you to get trained, and then that way you could take care of your parents before using their benefits. Because most long-term care policies won't pay for family members. But if I just have a limited plan, my mom has the Alzheimer's, I don't want to use those benefits till I absolutely have to. So I could go and get trained on the company's dime and then be able to take care of my mom for a few years, and then when it gets to be too much, then I can use her policy to help me.
Oh, any other anomalies like that contractual? That's pretty cool.
Well, to me, the number one benefit of any long-term care policy is the care coordination. And what the care coordinator is if I saw something kind of going on with my mom, I would call the insurance company and say, I think my mom might be able to use the benefits. They would send out a local RN or a gerontologist to come and do a true assessment of my mom.
Really?
And then I can ask that person, where do I go? What do I do? Help me. And this person would actually be my quarterback or just help coordinate everything. And
So they have a liaison built into
yes,
it.
number
Wow.
one benefit.
That's fantastic. Well, listen, coming up in our next segment, we're going to continue our exploration of individual LTC with Susan Carlson, the head of our Brokers Alliance Long-Term Care Division. You can write the biz at brokersalliance.com. You can call us 1-800-290-7226-147 or hop out to our website at www.brokersalliance.com. You're listening to the Business Insurance Zone, the show that focuses on insurance in your practice. We'll be right back after the break.
Steve Savant
all-
here.
it's all-
For years, I've heard that less than 2% of all term life insurance ends in a claim. That's not many, and clients had to die to receive the benefits. That's the old term insurance. Now start selling the new term insurance. The term insurance that covers your client through a chronic illness, a catastrophic event, or a terminal diagnosis, and pays their monthly premium during extended periods of